hi everyone. I've just noticed that Paul's put a message on saying that if it helps, I'm listening whilst having lunch made from Huel. So that's a great start. So yeah, lovely to meet you all. I'm Will, a business development manager from Thrive, although I am wearing my Huel t-shirt. So I am from Thrive, but I'm just an avid Huel fan. And I'm joined by Vicki. If you'd like to introduce yourself, Vicki.
Hi, I'm Vicki Bacon. I'm people manager at Huel. I'm actually in HQ at the moment. I felt it only right that I should be doing this from our offices, and I've been with Huel since March 2018 now.
Wonderful, thank you very much. So today, myself and Vicki will be, or mainly Vicki, to start off, we'll be talking about their approach to L&D whilst utilising Thrive LXP. So we'll be going through a few slides firstly, and then at the end, we'll be able to jump into their Thrive Learning Experience platform to give you a bit of a walk around. Throughout the session, please feel free to ask any questions, and we'll also have a spot for Q&A right at the end as well if you want to save it for then. But yeah, for now, we'll jump into the presentation and start going, if that's all right, Vicki.
Perfect, go for it.
Wonderful. Over to you.
Thank you. So for those who don't know who this shouldn't start off this way.
It's a tongue twister, isn't it?
Well, I'll use this part of the presentation just to give a bit of an explanation. We produce nutritionally complete food. Mainly, you can purchase these over the internet, but we do stock our ready to drink in certain retailers like Sainsbury's, and we're beginning to break into John Lewis as well, or Waitrose rather. But it's really born from our founder Julian Hearn back in 2015, because there was a need to produce convenient, nutritionally complete food that was affordable and available for all, because not everybody has access to that. So it was really important that we filled that gap, as it were. We're really very mission-based. The mission is ever present. It's behind me now. It's in all of our meeting rooms at HQ, so that no matter where we're zooming from or where we're having our meetings, it's always an important reminder to us. Our mission is to make nutritionally complete, convenient, affordable food with minimal impact on animals and the environment. And having this mission has meant that we've been a very purpose-led business. Thank you. That's very nice of you. It means that everybody that joins has joined because we've all been in some way really captivated with that mission and are really behind it. Our vision is to be the world's leading complete food brand and change the way the world thinks about food. It's really grand, it's really big and hairy in terms of goals, but if you're going to have a goal, you may as well really aim for the stars, and I feel really confident that we will get there. We have quite a startup mentality, but we're beginning to liken ourselves now to more teenager in terms of style. We're not quite toddling. We're needing to get a bit more structure behind us. So we're not quite fully grown up. We don't perhaps want to be fully grown up. We quite like being in this teenage phase, but it does actually mean that being in that sort of startup entrepreneurial mindset means that we can have all the benefits of that. So on to the next slide, please.
Wonderful. And yeah, from my point of view, anyone that hasn't tried Huel, absolutely give it a go. It's just as good as Vicki says.
Yeah, the hot and savoury that we launched most recently is a really good alternative to the colder stuff that we do, which is the powder, obviously the bars and ready to drink. Some people prefer to have a warmer dish, and hot and savoury allows that. So we're really proud of that. And this is actually where I'm sat right now. I'm on the seat there in front of the mission, and it's one of our best used sort of photos from inside our offices. So our values are there on the left. That's a metal credit card that Julian, our founder, produced a couple of years ago, actually. Our values are really important to us, and it's handy to have them quite close and to hand at all times. So the point of having it on the metal card was that you can put it in your purse or your wallet and take it out and refer back to it. And obviously, being in the people team, we refer back to these values often. it's important reminders for us. We have it also on our wall here in HQ, which is the other photo. Obviously, one of our values is very provocative. Don't be a dick. It gets a lot of PI. Even saw today on LinkedIn, somebody else has posted about it. Normally, we get sort of 90%. Yes, it's great, well done, and you'll get a few people that aren't quite on track with it, but you know they're perhaps not who we're trying to aim for anyway. We call all of our employees hooligans, and also actually our customers are hooligans too. But it's really important that being a hooligan, we you know understand these values and display these values day to day. We've upgraded the values from the metal credit card to a sticker now, which is an ingenious idea, actually. Julian came up with it along with the help from Amy, who's our lead exec in terms of the office and facilities here. But it means that we capture those values and put them all onto everybody's laptop. So anybody starting with the business instantly gets hold of those day one. Whenever you open up your laptop, you're able to look back down and see them there, and they're always there and always handy to refer back to. So quite a novel idea and a good way of making sure that everybody has the values to hand all the time.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea. I'm going to try and pitch that to see if we can get that done here at Thrive. I think it's great.
You know, it's no point having values if there's something that's in a book that you don't ever look at.
Absolutely.
Want to go back to them.
100%.
So with our grand vision, how do we intend to get there? So as a business, being you know, the startup mentality and working as quickly as possible, speed is really important. We often at Huel talk about speedboat versus oil tanker. If you're an oil tanker, if you need to make a change of course or adapt, it often takes a lot longer, and sometimes you can go off course as a result. Whereas with a speedboat, you're much more nimble and can get through. And we very much want to treat everything that we're doing within the business in that sort of speedboat mentality. So you know, getting products to market first is vital. You know, it gives us that leading edge that we're aiming for. And our vision is to really be an outstanding company to work for. You know, why not? Why can't we aim for this best companies in next year? It's something that we want to strive for, something that we should be all aiming for. It's you know, speed is what we want, but it has to be of quality as well.
It seems to be working so far.
I know, it's amazing, really. When I think I started, and there was like, I was employee number 34, and now we're on employee 155, I think. So yeah, we've got employees dotted, you know, in a few countries. We've got a big team over in the US, and a couple of you know, workers, one in Berlin and another in the Netherlands. But the majority are in the UK. We're a big UK company, so it's really important that despite miles between us, that we have that consistency and that fair treatment across the board, really.
Absolutely. Awesome.
So planning ahead and approaching our learning campaigns. So the perfect thing for us with the Thrive platform is the campaign option. It really does make the site look slick. It looks appealing. It gets people in. It gets people sort of engaged very quickly, and changing it up all the time just renews it all the time, and invest new interest from everybody. So the campaign features work really well for us at Huel. We're you know, we like to be inspired, and we like visual things, so having the ability to change it regularly really helps. In terms of what campaigns do we look for, there's a variety of different criteria, really. We first of all think what's important to us as a business. We launched our sustainable nutrition report back in December, and it you know, it's a first for us. It's very important. It's an important part of our mission, the sustainability aspect. So we really wanted to be able to bring everybody on this journey to make everybody aware of what that means to us as a business, what we'll be doing differently, how we'll be thinking, and how it, you know, affects us day to day. So Huel Learn gave us the ability, or the Thrive platform, as we call it, Huel Learn, gave us that ability to be able to get everybody into that area to be able to pass on relevant content, signpost for events. So throughout the launch of the Sustainable Nutrition Report, we had a week-long event where we had daily sort of lunch and learns, and we focused on different areas of the report. Our head of sustainability, Jessica, sort of gave us a brief overview at first, and then we drilled down more into the details, covering areas like nutrition and what that means, in terms of it being sustainable. Packaging obviously has a massive impact on the environment and our sustainability credentials, and also ethical sourcing. We deal with lots of suppliers from all over the world with our raw ingredients, so it's crucial that we make sure that we are partnering with the right people and they're doing what they're saying they're going to do. So we had some really great in-depth and informative sessions from that. It's also about like what we want to share. So next month, or later this month, we're going to have a sort of behind the scenes of a board meeting. We've got quite a young workforce, quite a few people. It's a first-time job, they're straight from uni. So some of these formal sort of business language, it can be a little bit confusing, and it can feel a bit like it's demystifying it and codifying what we actually do as a business. Everybody has board meetings, but what the hell happens in a board meeting? So our CEO James has kindly took the mantle, and he's going to present like a very informal sort of 30-minute session on what we cover, what's the point, and any questions from everybody. So it's very pertinent to us, and obviously it's something that our hooligans really wanted to know. Gaps obviously are very important as well. As I said, we have a young workforce. We're all keen as mustard to strive for the mission and our goals, but perhaps we need just a little bit more support along the way. Emotional intelligence is something that happens with experience, but also we can guide people and give people confidence. So often giving and receiving feedback is a critical part of anybody's development, and it's something that when done badly goes terribly wrong. However, when done well, it gives you the desired effect, and it really helps you to spot those development gaps and spur you on a bit more in your career. So knowing that we'd have had a few examples of where feedback had gone terribly wrong, or worse still, people weren't giving feedback for fear of hurting people's feelings or not wanting to cause any controversy. We decided to host a couple of giving and receiving feedback sessions, which we did last month. We haven't had an external trainer come in. She handled the giving feedback, so she talked us through the importance of it and a model for giving real quality feedback to us, and then I handled the receiving part of it, and we did a bit of role play. So being able to address those possible gaps within the business, within the organisation, and try and resolve that with some good light-hearted training. It really helps, and we were able to obviously then put everyone back into Huel Learn after that training session, so that we could go through further content. Obviously at the moment there's so many great TED Talks and so much great stuff out there. It's easy to link that content to the actual event and get people to go on there afterwards and revise on that.
Brilliant. Just had a quick question, Vicki. Who was the trainer? Are you able to say who that was?
Yeah, her name is Sally Curzon. She was actually formerly of Innocent Drinks and shares a lot of our hooligan values. So she's a perfect partner for us.
Lovely. So you use the platform to highlight those sort of training sessions, and then people can join them. They can learn about them initially, and then they're on the platform going forward for people to dip back into at any point that they want to.
Yeah, and we often set sort of homework there as well before the sessions. We find that showing videos during a training session is not a great use of our time. If people can do that in their own time and come with that knowledge, it's so much more helpful, and you get that sort of level up in terms of people understanding what you're talking about as well. And finally, we go back to looking at a calendar really of the year ahead and sort of pinpoint areas or events that we want to celebrate and raise awareness about. That, you know, things like Mental Health Awareness Week or Black History Month, Pride, sort of important calendar events that we want to be able to raise awareness with within Huel.
Lovely. And then just another quick question there, Vicki. We've been asked, how do you measure the feedback? Was it better in terms of quality and quantity? Did you measure that up at all, or?
Obviously, we have the traditional sort of pulse surveys straight afterwards for as quick and dirty feedback as we can. Never always get everybody's viewpoint on that. So another way that we evaluate that is through our business partners. I'm one of those as well. Just making sure that we speak to the line managers of those that attended to see whether they're actually delivering that feedback. If not, why not? You know, how can you incorporate that a little bit more into your one-to-ones?
Lovely.
Once we've decided on what campaigns we want to go to or to utilise, all those decisions usually come through the people team. However, you know, we've always got our ears open to listen to what people want out there and where we might be able to focus on other events and raise awareness. But usually as a collective, as a people team, we meet every other week and go through what's coming up on Huel Learn. I tried to put together a pack, as you can see in these GIFs, which sort of lists what, when, why, content available, how we're going to communicate it, and then you know, once that's sort of discussed and feedback's given, obviously it's really important to make sure that it's not just all coming from one person's idea, that we're all discussing it. Then we go on to actually launching those campaigns. In the next slide, we obviously try to make the look and feel of each campaign quite different, and any communications that are coming out need to incorporate that overall look and feel, so that everything feels you know, really succinct. And it's abundantly clear to anyone, you know, what we're celebrating, what this communication's about. So, you know, you get a mailer out ahead of the campaign, go straight onto Huel Learn, and there it is. You know, you can see it there, and you can begin to search through the highlights bar there with all the content.
And for those that don't know, these are sort of 3 screenshots of a part of the Thrive platform. So as Vicki said, these are campaign banners that sit right at the top of the platform, and you're able to highlight different things that are happening, like Vicki's just mentioned there. And it's an opportunity to highlight content and show it to learners as soon as they join the platform. And when we jump into a demo, we'll be able to show you a live example of one of those.
Yeah, excellent. And I think just on the next slide is just a little bit more of, you know, what those mailers could look like. So, you know, we celebrated International Women's Day. We had a Q&A panel with a couple of leading women in RC in the customer sort of service sector, and we also had a sort of financial well-being focus for March ahead of financial year end, and had a couple of sort of webinars on pensions and different benefits that we provide at Huel. And this, you know, just acts as a signpost to get people into Huel and remind them of the content that changes all the time.
Nice. So it's not just stuff that's happening within Huel or initiatives that Huel are doing, it's just stuff that's happening in the outside world as well. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, and the work and life sort of intermingle so much. So, you know, the choices are endless, really.
That's fair enough.
In terms of what employees really want from learning, we go back to this speedboat versus oil tanker scenario that we often talk about at Huel. Speedboat means, you know, it means convenience, and it also means ease of use. So if we go to the next slide, we have found that over the last what's it, a year now that we've been in lockdown, we've had our biggest growth in terms of new employees and new hooligans. So it's obviously set us with a bit of a problem in terms of onboarding. However, I have to say that the Huel Learn platform has really been a saviour for us, because it's been a way of keeping all of that information in one place in a logical way, so that onboarding has just been that much more beneficial and for us, but also a lot easier for our new starters. And it's not something that, you know, they only get onboarding. They can come back to this if they need to in a few months' time, if they've forgotten who they've met or who does what. So the Welcome to Huel Learning Pathway, which we'll take a look at when we go into Huel Learn, has been hugely beneficial for us, and it's really encapsulated that speedboat scenario for us, because had we not have had this sort of platform, they'd have to be going to using our Google Drive, using Slack, going on emails, attending meetings via Zoom. It all becomes quite convoluted, and if you're new to a business, that just really adds to the stress, and you want it as simple and straightforward as possible.
Yeah, it's. I'm hoping everyone's going to really like the pathways that you guys have created in the platform. We'll show that when we get into the demo, but yeah, loads of our customers are using these pathways, particularly for induction or onboarding purposes, because it's just so straightforward to have everything in one easy place for them to initially see, but also have as a resource going forward, just when they're in their role. So we'll jump into that when we get to the demo.
Yeah, and I mean, I canvassed a bit of sort of testimonials from some of the new starters before this webinar, and ease of use was used about 5 times, but in
Amazing.
So everybody's found it a very modern approach. They haven't seen that before. Very straightforward, and the fact that you can sort of play and pause and return to it whenever you want is super helpful as well. I've just seen that somebody has asked about whether you use broadcast. We don't as of yet, but it's something that we're looking into.
Brilliant. And for those that don't know, so yeah, someone asked if Vicki uses the broadcast function on the platform. So Thrive has our own broadcasting functionality, which is a relatively new piece of functionality available, but it allows individuals within the organization to start a live broadcast to either groups of people within the company or to everybody. So our customers are using this for things like company updates or board meetings, just an opportunity to have our own broadcasting functioning directly within the platform. So we don't need to fiddle about with the likes of Zoom or Hangouts or things like that.
Yeah, I've seen it being used from some of your other customers really well. Decium, and I'm a fangirl of Decium anyway, but the way that they use it, it's really clever.
Yeah, absolutely. It also allows the learners to be able to ask questions. They can upvote, downvote, and interact. So yeah, it's really cool. We're starting to see more and more customers use it.
So in terms of what our employees really want from learning, we started off, gosh, back in the dark ages with a very convoluted sort of training plan. I was quite new to the role and was doing all sorts of other things, so it was a very part-time involvement from my perspective. That being said, we weren't catering for everybody. It was very UK centric. It was very team centric as well. We may be focusing too much on marketing, whereas we should have been focusing on everyone. We don't really want to create silos here. But one thing that we did learn from the early days is that actually internally we have a great skill set and knowledge, and it's something that we continue to use today. So we often have training sessions utilising our project managers or our salespeople for negotiation skills. These are all really vital skills that will help us on our journey, and if we can share within the organisation, it's just much more enriching. But we do also have external trainers coming in for specialised subjects. Resilience and well-being is something we want to give to trained individuals. So using like pulse surveys in terms of our regular All Hooligans surveys, we have a training section in there. And before we joined Thrive, one recurring theme was the ability to learn at your own pace, at your own time, no matter where you are in the world. As I said earlier, I feel like some of our previous learning was very UK centric, and for our team in the US, you just don't get that same in the classroom feel if you're having to zoom in. It's very, very difficult to have a trainer doing in the room and on Zoom at the same time. So looking at our platform, it's made us think about learning in a different way. It's made us think about bite-sized learning is super important, because not everybody has the time The lights have literally just gone off in the boardroom here. So if I'm a little bit in the dark, I'll turn it on in a second. It's obviously our commitment to sustainability there. I need
nice.
to make but yeah, the consistency, no matter where you are in the world, is really important to us, and we want everybody to have that same service and that same level. And I definitely feel like Huel Learn has got us there. It's got to be relevant to us as well. You know, what we do is different from what everybody else does. There are, you know, common themes in terms of people's development journeys, but certainly, you know, our commitment to sustainability, our commitment to our products needs to be pertinent to us, and it has to be fun as well. You know, nobody's going to, you know, take anything on board if it's really dull and boring. So even compliance needs to have an element of just fun to it, and, you know, having the ability to do quizzes, to write comments, ask questions on the platform really helps aid this, and we've got a perfect example of that, and when we go on board, I'll show you. And then, as I said, learning from each other is crucially the most important thing. We have hugely talented individuals that work here at Huel, and you know, they've got lots of knowledge and experience that you know, passing on to us all really helps. And our leaders are people that we look up to. So learning from our leaders is really important too.
That's great. I really like learning to be fun, but I don't think I can imagine anything at Huel not being fun or engaging. Like, even if you're going to file paperwork, you can see something cool on the wall, or you can have a nice drink.
We try very hard to make sure that you know, if there's a way of going about it, you know, how can we make it better? And then ways to adopt this approach are I hope fairly straightforward. Obviously, breaking down the goal into every day wants and needs. Obviously, we want to be that world leading company, that everybody should want to work for. So what does that look like? How do we break that down? You know, is that improving some of our basics? You know, getting brilliant basics. You know, simple things that can help us on the way there. Obviously, bringing it back to our core values, looking at that set of hooligan traits that are really important to us. You know, are we being that speedboat? Are we working hard and hustling fast? Are we making sure that we're better than yesterday? They're really important indicators as to whether we're on the right track. Is it the right tone for Huel? Listen to what's going on. Our leaders, our people managers are great resources in terms of understanding their team's needs. Also, individuals within the business, it's always interesting to hear if something's not working. I'd rather hear that, because there's obviously a solution that we can help them with, and I'm sure there's some way that Huel Learn can benefit this. When I think of that, I think of our CE, our customer experience team, have a particular need for onboarding, and we're working with them at the moment and making that more seamless. Perfecting that even more with the help of Huel Learn. And obviously making the platform a one-stop shop for everything. Everybody, you know, really want to keep improving, so that it's the first site that people go into as soon as they log on at Huel, and it has all the information that they need. If it hasn't, why not? You know, how can we make that better for them? And the mission is always going to be important to us. It's in the background. It's always what we have to make sure that if it's aligned to that mission, you know, convenience and affordability for us. You know, what's the point of going down a traditional, you know, massive, you know, outsourced instructor route? Is it really going to work for us? How beneficial is it going to be? You know, how convenient is this for us as a team? You know, is it accessible all the time? So there's all sorts of questions that we need to ask. And then communicate as well, making sure those campaigns are really succinct, making sure that look and feel tallies all the way through, so it's really clear to people that, you know, when they get this email through and it's about Mental Health Awareness Week, as soon as they go onto Huel Learn, they can see it all there. You know, there's that ease and that theme is carried all the way through.
Awesome. As simple as that. Make it sound dead easy.
I'm going to turn on the light now, so excuse me.
No worries, that's fine. Well, yeah, thanks so much for that, Vicki. Hopefully you can still hear me while you turn on the lights. But yeah, for me, that's given a really good overview of who you are, who Huel are, your approach to L&D and the utilization of Thrive how you're using Thrive to bring that to life. So yeah, as we've said, let's bring that to life. We can jump into the platform, show everyone who's on your live site. We can run through a few things, and please, again, anyone in the chat, feel free to ask any questions if there's anything in particular that you want to see on the platform. So starting off, here we are in Huel's platform. You can immediately see that obviously their brand is represented straight away. We always try and do that with all of our clients, and Huel's generally one of my favorite sites just because of the brand. It's so cool. You can't go wrong with the little black and white. So we're on the homepage, so it's probably a good way to start with sort of walking through the homepage and showing everyone, Vicki, how you utilize Thrive and the homepage to deliver different types of contents to people. You were talking earlier about how every week, every month, you push out different campaigns on the platform to highlight different content to the learners. And we can see at the top here that we've got a campaign which is highlighting strength at Huel. So do you want to tell everyone a little bit about what this is and how you're utilizing it?
Yeah, so we've embarked on a journey with Strengths Profile. They're I never know how to describe them, which is terrible, but it's not personality testing at all, because it's dealing with people's strengths. So it's an excellent development tool and a great way of sort of motivating and engaging people. So we've decided to go with strengths because it's a really positive experience. So everybody in the business has now taken a profile test, and we've got the results. I'm an accredited strengths profile coach, so I have debrief sessions with teams of 4, and we go through their profiles really. The point of what we're doing here is to explain to people in those videos that you're on there what strengths profile is, the way it works, the model, so that people are coming to the debrief again that little bit more informed. We're not wasting our time. We only have an hour. An hour is not actually a very long time to go through 4 people's profiles. So if they can come armed with the homework that we set, so that they understand a little bit more about the model, then we can get straight in and utilize that hour a lot better. And because it was Strengths Profile, we kindly had Trudy Bateman, who's the head of CAP Affinity, and she's sort of partly responsible for Strengths Profile, so almost like founder of that, come in and chat to Matt and I, who both have undergone the training to do the coaching with everyone, and we just sort of fired off some quite interesting questions to her about why strengths, and what's your strengths, any interesting strength stories, just to give it a bit more life. And that's the beauty with what we're able to do at Huel Learn, is that we're able to have like quite a rich experience in subject matters, rather than having something written down, or having to roll out class after class after class to get people to explain it. You can just dip in and out as and when you please.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful, and having on a platform where everyone can view it at any time. They can ask questions if they want to. They can sort of explore those subjects in a bit more detail. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I see somebody said about gamification. See points in the upper right corner, but wondering if you can custom align. Maybe one for you there, Will.
Yeah, so how does the gamification work with Thrive? I see points in the upper right corner, but wondering if you can custom assign points profile. They're great. Trudy is awesome. So yes, so we've got a point system within the platform. You get points for literally doing anything in the site. So whether you're liking or viewing or uploading a piece of content, then you get a certain amount of points. They go towards your total and also towards your team total. If you have a manager, your manager will be able to see across the board what every team member has got, and they can also see top contributors towards those as well. Extending from gamification, we can also have certain achievements within the platform. So they're almost sort of like little engagement initiatives where you can go and try and explore these different badges and try and get them, just to try and entice people to explore different parts of the platform.
Also, we do at Huel, every start of each month, we have a Huel Superstars mailer that goes out. We share who's hit the most points. We have like top 3 biggest points, and then we have a couple of places where people have risen from the month before, so most points gains. And it's a nice way of acknowledging people that are doing really well on the platform, and hopefully giving it a slight competitive element and advantage for those that like to do that.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then we've just had another very quick question about discussions and sort of collaborative elements. So in answer to that, so under every piece of content, whether it's a video like this one or an e-learning course or an event, learners have the ability to add comments. So I can tag Vicki in, for example, ask a question. I can see who's posted the piece of content, so I can ask them a question. This is available to everybody on the platform, but you can quite easily push out contents which are just sort of for specific people. So if I wanted to push out a piece of content just for the HR team, I can do that. Only they'll be able to see it, and only they'll be able to have a conversation underneath there. So hopefully that answers that question. There's been another question on about reporting capabilities. Hopefully we'll be able to jump into that in a little bit of time. I'll just have to pull out an admin panel, but for the time being, we'll just carry on with walking through the homepage, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lovely. So this is the sort of what we've got, the campaign banner, so you can highlight things to learners as soon as they jump in. We've got this area which is called the highlights, which you renamed strengths, so you're pinning content right to the top of your learner's homepage.
Yeah, we find that works
Sorry,
best.
go on, Vicky.
I mean, personally, we find that works best. It's again, like ease of use. As soon as you're on the platform, the highlights bar there is basically us saying this is content that we want you to look at about this campaign. And you know, with campaign changing, that will change as well. So it always feels like there's something, you know, refreshed and new on the site.
Awesome. And then everything below this this black line here, we start to deliver content to learners based on things that we call components. So these are 2 example components. These can be renamed, reshaped, resized, moved around, and they're just an opportunity to, again, pull through different streams of contents or different pockets of contents for your learners. So yeah, Vicki, tell us about some of the components that you've got on the front page here.
Yeah, so events are becoming more and more important to us through you know, and highlighting those through Huel, because there's elements of, if you push it all through the Thrive platform, you are able to then build up your own CPD if you wish as well, log, and it's a much easier way of logging all of the training that's going on rather than having separate spreadsheets and God knows what else. So yeah, events, we didn't start this way, and that's the beauty of using these platforms, is that you can change it as and when you like. You know, it's as versatile as you want it to be, really. And so we started off not highlighting events through here, but then I found it was important that people, as soon as they get into the site, were able to quickly see stuff that's coming up. And you know, I'm really proud that we're going to have a couple of fantastic speakers for our Mental Health Awareness Week. So I've popped them in there already got a booking on a couple of them. But we'll highlight those more nearer to the time. And there's our board meeting, and there's our appropriateness at Huel workshop. So we go through, you know, what appropriate behaviours are, all this sort of fairly what would you call it? It's necessary training, but we try and make it as interesting as possible, really. So we get everybody to go through these workshops, and the beauty of booking through Huel is that the individuals then get a countdown as soon as they're booked on, so they can see what events they're signed up for and when they're taking place.
Yeah, these are really cool. I noticed that you've got loads of different events that learners can just search and explore and sign up to. We've got a full events booking system within the platform, as Vicki mentioned. So whether they're face-to-face, you can just put the address on there. But if they're online, you can just integrate with the likes of Zoom, Teams, Hangouts, or even our broadcasting functionality that you mentioned earlier. So learners sign up, they'll get a calendar invite. You can show them related content. You can link content if you want them to complete stuff before, during, or after. And of course, we've got the comments down there as well. So learners can ask questions before, during, or after the event. Great. So just sort of coming down to the bottom of the homepage, just to show a few of the different components that you're pulling through. So we've got financial well-being on the left-hand side here, and inclusion and diversity. Vicki, you mentioned that all learning has to be fun on the platform. So how are we making financial well-being fun on the platform?
I know. Well, the good thing about some of the financial wellbeing stuff that we put on was they were of benefit to our hooligans. So we got Cycle to Work scheme here in the UK, and we've also got a workplace nursery scheme in the UK. And actually, it's a really important point that the way in which you set up the platform is that you can have certain audiences. So our team in the US aren't going to feel particularly loved if all the content is just aimed at UK. So within these particular recordings, we can make sure that it's only available to our UK team rather than our US team. And we did actually put something similar on for our US team, so they weren't out of the picture. Pensions webinar, okay, it can't be that fun, but you know, sort of, you know, being able to retire early, surely that's semi fun for some.
Yeah, I'd take that as fun. My dad's a pension advisor, so I've got to say, yeah, that's really fun, just in case my dad watches this later, maybe.
Very important. So it goes back to just informing our hooligans. We've got lots of people that are just starting on their pension journey, to understanding the importance of saving early for retirement. You just don't notice it. So I think if we can be in part responsible for that, then that's wonderful, and it's a great way of helping people, really. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. And then finally, you mentioned earlier that you're using, well, feedback's one of the key areas of focus. So you've just utilised the components to be able to pull through just feedback. So quickly react to stuff that's going on, pull that through onto the homepage, and show some associated content with that.
And with this as well, you know, we talk about Carol Dweck, we talk about Dan Pink, you know, we refer back to those within the training sessions. So for people to be able to do the training, leave, and then come back and maybe look into that a bit further and have it all in that one area is just so convenient, really.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then on the right hand side, you've got just for you. So I imagine this is recommended content for that individual. There's multiple ways that we actually recommend content to learners on Thrive. We want every learner who accesses the platform to see stuff which is relevant to them as an individual. So learners can detail their skills and their interests and their profile. So I, as a learner, have displayed an interest in health and well-being. So then if Vicki uploads a piece of content and tags it with health and well-being, that'll be pushed through as a recommended piece of content to me. As Vicki mentioned, you can put people into audiences, so you can then push content out to different audiences. They can be based on whatever you want. So it's your job role, your location. As I mentioned, Vicki mentioned about languages or where they are in the world, you can make sure that they're seeing the relevant stuff. And the final way we recommend content to learners is just via their behavior and their interactions on the site. So the more that they interact with content, the more styles and subjects that they interact with, Thrive will get a better understanding of them as an individual and further tailor the experience.
Yeah, and what we're finding as well at Huel is obviously we'll have lots of people that follow different people as well in the business, and it's always nice to see what, you know, maybe your leaders are looking into, and people that you admire throughout the business. You can follow them and see the content that they've been watching as well.
Great stuff. So that's the homepage, how you're using it at the moment. As you mentioned, it's fully changeable by yourselves. You don't have to keep on coming back to us, which allows you to quickly react and change and pull through different contents as and when you want to. What would be also really cool if we could have a look at your Discover area, which you mentioned on the call. So yeah, tell us a bit about this Discover area, Vicki.
So the Discover area is your library, basically, or is our library of content that you know, that's important to us at Huel. So our Welcome to Huel section there is our onboarding learning pathway, but we push that out automatically for all new starters. But you know, Huel Loves, for example, there's lots of fantastic podcasts, vlogs, blogs, YouTube, TED Talks, all that sort of thing. It's not only our stuff, we've got, you know, lots of social media content now, thanks to Julian and James and James. But it's also people that we admire. Steve Bartlett's in there. You know, there's all sorts of things that inspire us, inspire our leadership team, and inspire, you know, us as individuals. So if you know, we're talking about it, we'll add it to there. And then we've also got lots of different systems as well. So we're a cloud-based organization, business rather, you know, so getting to grips with some of the different systems that we use can be quite a minefield for new joiners. So we try and put that all in this section here, and there's a specific, for example, with Tableau, it's something that lots of people around the business now use. It's a really important forecasting tool for us. We've got a couple of data scientists that have kindly put together this sort of talking Tableau. We did a couple of introductory sort of videos as to what Tableau is, what we use it for, how you use it, how you might use it, so it just gives everybody that information. And they even have, we've done a learning pathway with Jay and Alex where those 3 components sit, and we back it up with a quiz so that it's like, okay, you've watched these videos, but have you? So we asked them some fun, and this is where the fun comes, some fun questions just to make sure that they've captured that information. And I spoke to Alex and Jay yesterday, and they told me that they've worked out that having this on Huel Learn has actually saved them 45 minutes a week. So we're talking like a whole working week in a year of just the usual questions that they have to consistently keep answering. So I'm super proud that this has, been addressed as sort of one of those situations where, although they're happy to answer the questions, we've actually saved them time, and that's really great.
That's awesome. That's really great to hear. This discover area is really cool. I love the imagery that you guys use throughout the platform. It really makes it pop. And the discover area is perfect for things like that, allowing people to just search and explore subjects that they might find interesting, sort of facilitating that self-directed learning if someone wants to come into the platform and explore pockets of content in a different fashion. And as you say, have a library of stuff that you have on the site.
Yeah.
We've had a question from, sorry, go on, Vicki.
That's from Sarah, saying,
Yeah.
how admin heavy is the system for you? Is it manageable for a small team? Yes, we are a small team and it's exceptionally manageable. I'd say it's really important to have somebody on the team that's sort of owning most of it. That's me within Huel, and it's you obviously have to get your head around a few things, and the tagging system is quite alien at first, but as soon as you're on board with it and you understand how everything sits, everything becomes a lot easier. So admin wise, it takes up not much time. Campaigns take up most of the time, but that's something that I need to invest in. So would you like to see your Welcome to Huel section? I don't know if you want to take us through the Welcome to Huel.
Can do.
But in answer to your question, admin wise, it's hard to put a number on it, but I would say for me personally, it's no more than a few hours a week. But if I've got a big campaign, then that might grow a little bit.
Nice. And it's worth mentioning that Thrive also, we do an implementation process where we've got an implementation specialist. So we run around about 9 or 10 different workshops to get our customers up to speed on how to use the platform, but also help them plan their sort of content strategy and their engagement strategy throughout their whole lifetime with us. And when they go live, they're handed over to a customer success manager. So they'll help our customers maintain the platform going forward. If maybe they see a dip in engagement, they can get in touch and give advice on what to do, and also feedback on what other customers are doing to try and help other customers out. So that the CSMs will also assist with that.
Yeah, Rachel's my CSM, and I'd be lost without her. So.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
If you perhaps go into the learning pathway, then Will, the Welcome to Huel one.
Yeah, so I've just I've pinned that one here. So this is an example of a pathway within Thrive. So we can, of course, have individual pieces of content like I've shown already. So whether it's a video, standalone video, or a PDF, or an e-learning course, or even just a link to a website. But we also have the opportunity to package content into pathways of learning. So it is what it is. It's allowing you to push learners down a bit more of a sort of specific learning pathway from a collection of different pieces of contents on the platform. So this is all about sort of Welcome to Huel, is it, Vicki? Is this what learners receive when they first join?
Exactly, yeah. So they get their login, they go straight in. Matt or Emily, who you see there on the left, we'll tell them to look out for it and start going through it within the sort of first 4 weeks of joining Huel. So we've put in there in the welcome, it's like, okay, these are your first few weeks, this is what it's going to look like, this is who you're going to meet, this is how you set up your email signature. We've got interesting videos about tours of the office, especially at HQ, just so even if we're remote, you can sort of see what the office is like. It's not too much of a surprise, takes out some of that unknown quantity to it, just to make people feel like they're already on board, prior to actually coming back to the office. Then we have really important pre-read stuff to do with our strategy. Everybody gets to meet Julian, our founder, and James, our CEO. So they'll often talk about the strategy, and if they've come to that meeting having watched this, again, it's utilising people's time in the right way. And then we have the training, all important stuff, GDPR and phishing, spam and internet security. We're going to add to that in terms of how Huel manage GDPR. So it just makes it a lot.
2018.
To us, but this is a off-the-shelf content, isn't it? Well, this came from Thrive. Thrive created this for all their customers. So it's a great way of handling quite a dry subject matter and getting people to go through it. And then mental health and wellbeing is exceptionally important to us at Huel, and we, although we give a little bit of information about that. In our people induction, we've also got all of the resources in our final section, so that if people need to use our EAP, if they need to use Spill, it's all available there for them.
Amazing, yeah, and it's really cool. Like I said, a lot of our customers use Thrive to onboard their new employees. It's a brilliant resource to get them set up and give them everything that they need to on day one and going forward. And again, it's useful information right at the start, but it's also then available for them at any point going forward if they need to look back at it at their lifetime with Huel or the organisation that they work for.
Memory's not good, so for me it's always good to go back to these.
Yeah. And for the people that haven't used Thrive, Vicki, what's the process like of creating a pathway? How easy is it?
Really easy. I have to say, maybe I like process quite a lot, but the way that you do things on the platform is very straightforward and visually quite appealing, where you can just tag things and immediately select them. It's no bother at all. I'm not particularly tech savvy, but creating learning pathways are exceptionally satisfying from my perspective, because you can get all of that content in one place, and it's so super straightforward. So I love creating learning pathways.
Awesome. And yeah, the basic training, as it's another way that you're making learning fun. You're using Thrive's micro-learning content. So yeah. For those that don't know, Thrive's also obviously have our learning experience platform, but the other arm to our business is our micro-learning catalogue. So we've got over 170 titles, from understanding GDPR to leadership and management, and we've got a really nice bulk of content on mental health and well-being. That all comes free with the platform, so you can have it packed full of content as soon as you go live. Okay, awesome. So I'm conscious that we are 8 minutes from time. So there were a lot of the stuff that you mentioned in the presentation. So thanks very much for talking through that and putting it into life, Vicki. I'm just going to have a look across to see if there's any other questions that we've missed off. And again, any other questions are more than welcome whilst we've got a little bit of time left. So the first one I can see is, Sarah, do you collaborate with other teams such as comms and marketing to run Huel Learn campaigns, Vicki?
We sometimes borrow their content. At the moment, we're not, but it's something that I'd like to look into more, just to continually sort of improve things, because I know what I know, but I don't know what I don't know. So if I can lean on some of that internal talent a bit more, it really helps. So I think it's something that we're not doing at the moment, but definitely something that I really want to look into. But obviously more for people's calendars as well, and not encroaching too much on their time. But the beauty of it is, Huel Learn in itself is relatively easy to run. So I don't need too much help in that department. I think it's more in attracting more traffic onto the site, really.
Awesome. And Sarah's also asked, how far in advance will you plan for a campaign, and how long do you usually run them for?
So some a year in advance, some literally a few days. It's really dependent on what's happening around us, what's happening within Huel. It might be that For example, we definitely wanted to celebrate International Women's Day. We'd organised a couple of things and lots of content, but it really took off. We're 50-50 split in terms of gender here at Huel, and lots of our teams were I really want more. So we were able to then roll out more. Luckily, we utilised one of our head of CE. He has some great contacts, lots of experience, and was able to bring on board a brand new set of panellists. So we had yet another event. It was really great. So yeah, just having the ability to switch things up at last, at a minute's notice is great. Obviously, it can give me more grey hairs, but it's also love to enjoy. So it was no hassle, and getting it out into Huel Learn was super easy.
Awesome. Yeah, and as Vicki says, it's super easy to be able to create campaigns. All you need to do is get a banner image and then search for content that's already on the platform, assign that to the campaign, then push it out to different people. We can have different campaigns for different audiences as well. So if Vicki did want the UK team to see a different campaign to the US team, then you can do that. But I think the giving our customers the ability to be able to quickly adapt to things that happen in the world and push out comms is a really strong tool, especially given the last year that we've had. When the first lockdown started in, was it March last year? Loads of our customers didn't have sort of thinking about ways that they can communicate with their colleagues. So they just put a campaign banner up there, put videos up there of heads of departments or CEOs, and it's a really quick tool to be able to communicate with a large audience if need be, really quickly. Yeah. Lovely. Okay, so just looking back through some of the questions, I noticed I missed a couple. So one from Andy. Thanks for the question, Andy. How do you track everyone's scores? Is it through API, or have I missed a secret admin setting? So everything in the platform is tracked pretty much. So whether the learners click a piece of content, they like it, they view it. And we have a full analytics and reporting functionality within the back end. Unfortunately, I don't have the admin functionalities on the Huel site. I don't know if that's Vicki not letting me in. She might not want me to see something.
Sorry.
No, I'm joking, that's fine. But I've just pulled you across to another one of our clients, Deciem. They've got a very similar brand, so I might have got away with that, but there we go. So this is just very quickly, Andy, an idea of the analytics that we have within the platform. And this is all around to give our customers a better understanding of their learners, what they're doing in the platform, when they're accessing the platform, and also the types of contents that they access. So just very quickly, we've got a user reach here, so we can see how many people have or haven't accessed the platform. You can also filter that by audience to say, right, I'd like to have a look at when the HR team have accessed the site. And you can also filter down to see when the most active times of that team are. So like Vicki mentioned, if you are pushing out communications or company updates and you want to push it to those particular people, I can see that the HR team are mainly active at 2 o'clock on a Friday. They're starting to wind down. So I can push that comms out around 2 o'clock at that time. So that's the most effective time to send that content. And then finally, to again give our customers a better understanding of how their learners are consuming content. So if we can have a look over the last 7 days here, you can see sort of total views, likes, shares, and comments within the platform. You can have a look at different types of content, so you can see what types of contents your learners prefer. If you're sort of starting to sort of figure out your content strategy, you can see that actually everyone is preferring to take a look at videos as opposed to quizzes. No one's watching the quizzes. So loads of different analytics to be able to give you a better understanding of your learners and the content they're consuming. And anyone that's interested in exploring that a little bit more, I'd be more than happy to arrange a separate session and go into that in a bit more detail. Okay, lovely. So we're coming up to time. We've got a couple of minutes left. So any other questions are more than welcome. I'll hang on for a minute or so.
I think you've got one there, Will, asking, do you run multiple campaigns at the same time or just one at a time?
So within the platform, you can run multiple campaigns. So as I mentioned, you can have different campaigns for different audiences. So they'll be able to see different campaigns. How have you utilised that at all, Vicki, or have you just sort of stuck to one?
Yeah, but we are, I think next month, potentially going to have an overlap. So it's interesting that we can do it for different audiences, but I think for us what we tend to do is finish one campaign, start the next, or it might be that we have a month-long campaign with perhaps a smaller week-long one, you know, positioned in there, and it would then just revert back to the month-long campaign.
Lovely. Okay, I think, am I right in saying that there's no other questions, Cass? We've answered them all?
Yeah, I think that's all your questions answered. So just what's next is to say thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And Vicki, a special thank you to you for taking us through your Huel Learn today. Hopefully everyone had a lot of takeaways there and how you can adopt Huel's modern L&D approach and kind of take some of those campaign approaches and deliver them in your own organisation. So yeah, thank you very much. Big claps for both Will and Vicki today.
Yeah, no, thank you. Big, massive thank you to Vicki. This was a really lovely presentation and lovely to do this with you, Vicki. And seriously, for anyone who hasn't tried Huel before, absolutely head to their website now and take a look. It's a class product, and you definitely won't regret having a go. And again, anybody that wants to explore Thrive in a little bit more detail, you're more than welcome to reach out, ask any questions. I'll reach out in myself to everybody that's joined today to sort of hopefully get a little bit of feedback. It'd be lovely to hear what everyone thought. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Really enjoyed it.
Definitely. And just to add to that, the recording will be available. I know a couple of people have asked in the chat, but we will be sending out the recording in a few days. And for everyone who's still on with us, keep your eyes peeled, because we'll be announcing our May webinar very soon with an exciting client. So keep your eyes peeled. We'll be launching that very soon. But yeah, any other questions? Will's got his email address up there, and we've got our website. So fire him an email, or yeah, just have a look at Thrive.
Thanks,
Getting
everyone.
some messages saying thank you, everyone. Thanks, great insight. Thank you, very interesting. So yeah, well done, everyone.
Lovely.
Thanks so much, Vicki. We'll speak to you soon.
Pleasure. Thanks very much. Bye.
Cool. Bye, everyone.